the least visited countries, and why you should visit them. Travel Up is a travel blog that takes you around the world to explore the most beautiful destinations, unique stays, top adventures, and so much more. Follow along with us as we take you around the globe and help you plan amazing memories that will last a lifetime. There are so many underrated cities and countries around the world, and some so untraveled you have probably never heard of them. Today, we will take you through the least visited countries around the globe and show you why you should travel to them. Madagascar. Madagascar, which is just off the east coast of Africa, is one of the more well-known and yet lesser visited destinations on Earth. The island is a paradise for anyone who loves nature and is a popular location for scientists studying rare animal and plant species due to its diverse wildlife. In fact, 5% of the entire world's animals and plants are found on Madagascar. On the island, you can see everything from the famous lemurs to sharks and whales. Despite being one of the world's largest islands, the reason for its lack of tourism is simply its remote location. Madagascar's infrastructure is still very much lacking, with poor roads and transport systems. However, if you make the trip, you can experience wild jungles and desert, all kinds of water sports on the country's magnificent coastline, plus incredible diving and visit some of the island's stunning national parks. Brunei. Brunei rarely comes to people's minds as somewhere to visit, and many people only travel here if they are in the area. The country is located on the equally tiny island of Borneo, taking up roughly half of the island. It is one of the few countries left on Earth governed by an absolute monarch, the Sultan of Brunei. Although, as with any Islamic country, respect must be given when visiting the nation, which follows strict Sharia law. Many find the people extremely friendly and the country is well set up for tourism. A highlight is the capital, Bandar Seri Begawan, which has mosques and palaces, the architecture of which is a beautiful combination of what can be found in both the Middle East and Asia. Just like the terrain of Borneo, Brunei is covered in lush jungle, epic beaches, and lots of wildlife. The main reason travelers avoid Brunei is due to its strict laws and reputation, as well as its contentious nature due to being home to large amounts of oil. If you are visiting Indonesia or Malaysia, however, it is only a short flight, and even the capital makes a perfect stop for a few days of culture, beaches, and exploration. Bhutan. Bhutan is frequently cited as one of the least visited countries in the world, despite its huge size. However, much of the country is unexplored due to a number of reasons. The first is barrier to entry. It is very hard to travel independently to Bhutan, and tours into the country require daily contributions, sometimes of up to $250 per day. Bhutan is also a religious nation with much of the land heavily protected by both UNESCO and the government to keep it as unspoiled as possible. However, there is lots of the country you can visit, namely the beautiful capital of Thimphu, where you can see vast temples and local life, plus the world-famous Tiger's Nest Monastery. There are hiking trails through mountains and forests, which will provide you views of the Himalayas. The Trans-Bhutan Trail has recently reopened after 60 years, which is encouraging more visitors to the country. A fun fact about Bhutan is that they don't have a GDP. Instead, they measure their economy by GNH, Gross National Happiness. So you can rest assured the Bhutanese people are a very happy and friendly bunch. French Polynesia. French Polynesia is well known as being a paradise on Earth. The country's lack of visitors is simply down to the sheer effort it can take to get here, combined with the unsurprisingly cost of the journey. French Polynesia is located deep in the South Pacific, and to fly here, you'll need to go to the capital of Papeete before taking a small plane to any of the over 1,000 islands that make up the archipelago. Much like the Maldives and other luxury destinations, French Polynesia is home to expensive hotels and resorts with overwater bungalows where you can eat breakfast from the pool. which is another slight barrier to entry for those traveling on a budget. However, the islands are spectacular, with endless palm trees, crystal water, distant mountains, volcanoes, and jungle to explore. Naturally, it also has amazing scuba diving and wildlife, and there are a whole host of activities you can do. If you can even afford a week here, it's likely to be one of the most beautiful, relaxing, and rewarding of your life. San Marino. You would assume San Marino would not appear on a list of least visited countries due to its location right in the center of Italy, but many people don't even realize it's there or don't make the journey. San Marino is one of the tiniest countries in the world, but has all of the beauty and excellent food of Italy. The country is located on a giant rock in central Italy, about a 45-minute drive or bus journey from Rimini. It is a steep climb to reach the city center, but the entire country is only 61 kilometers square, and the main hill can be walked around in 30 minutes. Everywhere you look are endless views of the rolling Italian countryside that entirely surround San Marino. And if you stop in any restaurant or cafe here, you can expect excellent pizza, pasta, and desserts. The country is home to many historical buildings, including churches and a castle, plus a quaint town square. A fun thing to do while you're here is to get your passport stamped. Although it's not official, you can get it done in the post office as a souvenir. San Marino's visitor numbers, while still extremely low, are actually almost double that of the population itself. And it is a true hidden gem which is worth seeing if you're already in Italy. Timor-Leste. The small country of Timor-Leste, otherwise known as East Timor, only receives around 66,000 visitors per year, and many people don't even realize it exists. It's located in Southeast Asia, not far from Indonesia, so not only is it very remote, but it only has 2 airports, so direct flights rarely go here. However, just like its neighbor Indonesia, the country has some of the world's best beaches, diving, wildlife, and culture. For a long time, it was home to war and received aid from the West, meaning many tourists wouldn't or couldn't go there. Now, many of the tourists who visit come for the Tour de Timor, which is a world-famous cycling race through the mountains. In Dili, you can visit museums to learn about the country's turbulent history before hiking through jungles, exploring caves, and visiting local villages in the mountains. You'll find a great Portuguese influence here, not just in architecture and names, but also food and drink. The diving is also some of the best on earth, so if you manage to visit, you'll get a unique and idyllic experience in a place known as the country without tourists. Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein might not be in the top list of least visited countries on Earth, but it is one of the least visited in Europe. The country is not only small, but with its location between Austria and Switzerland, many visitors bypass it on their way to more famous destinations. The landscapes and culture closely resemble that of its neighbors, with rolling green hills, bright blue lakes, fairy tale castles, and cute cobblestone towns. Apart from being one of the smallest countries, it is also one of the richest, so you'll find opulent chateaus and ski resorts here too. The entire country is only 25 kilometers long, and it doesn't have an airport, so you have to arrive by bus from Austria or Switzerland. Explore the classically European capital of Vaduz, with its brightly colored houses and winding streets and churches. The west of the country is flat, where you'll find the Rhine Valley, while the east is home to mountains. The diverse landscape means it attracts tourists who are nature lovers, so expect to enjoy amazing walks, hikes, skiing, and camping. Tuvalu. Another tiny archipelago in the South Pacific, Tuvalu is almost number 1 when it comes to difficulty to reach and numbers of tourists. Much like French Polynesia, Tuvalu has more than 100 islands, with 9 main inhabited ones, and after arriving at the main airport on Funafuti, a small passenger plane will whisk you away to whichever one you may be staying on. The whole country has thriving ecosystems both on land and in the water, with excellent diving and stunning coral reefs, as well as tropical jungle and white sand beaches. The lack of visitors means you're more than likely to have it to yourself if you manage to get here, so you can bask in the year-round 30-degree heat with fresh drink in hand. Flights occur just 3 times per week to Tuvalu from Fiji, so it can be a tricky place to reach no matter where you're from. On top of this, it has been listed as an island most likely to disappear in the 21st century due to declining population numbers and the threat of the ocean, which is taking over much of the island, including the traditional stilt houses the locals live in. For tourists, this means now is the time to go, if you're searching for a true desert island experience without the crowds. Marshall Islands. Marshall Islands was a place best avoided for a long time, which the United States used as a nuclear testing site. Unfortunately, nowadays the island remains radioactive, but the surrounding waters are popular as one of the best diving sites in the world. The most famous area is the Bikini Atoll, after which bikinis were named. If you're both a diver and a history buff, then the Marshall Islands are the place for you, as there are dozens of shipwrecks in the area to be explored, including the USS Saratoga, which have been taken over by blooming coral reefs and tropical fish. Radioactivity is not the only reason for the lack of visitors, which are only around 5,000 per year. Firstly, it is located in the Pacific between Hawaii and Australia. And secondly, there is a lack of infrastructure. Not many people live on the islands, and everything has to be imported, so it can be expensive, as most tourists stay on private island resorts. The rewards speak for themselves, however, with stunning lagoons and atolls and the world's biggest shark sanctuary. Montserrat. An island in the Caribbean that has a history filled with regular volcanic eruptions, you can see why people may not want to risk going here. Following the eruptions, many people deserted the island's capital and tourists were banned from the south of the island. Tourists can visit the capital of Plymouth during the day with a police escort, and the city is now referred to as a modern-day Pompeii due to the destroyed buildings and ash-covered ground. Now, the island receives around 8,000 visitors per year who come searching for the same attractions as the rest of the Caribbean. Beautiful beaches and a laid-back lifestyle. It's located just southeast of Puerto Rico, but the only way to get here is via plane or ferry from Antigua, so it can be a long journey. The island also became home to Irish settlers, so it is known as the Emerald Isle. And St. Patrick's Day is a very popular time here, but it also has incredible snorkeling and diving. With its towering volcanic skyline, black sand beaches, and caves and hiking trails, it makes the perfect Caribbean getaway without the usual influx of visitors. Conclusion. So many amazing countries to see that no one hardly knows about. If you don't mind tricky travel and hate crowded tourist destinations, then these countries are the place for you. If you enjoyed this video or got something out of it, please like and subscribe. Happy traveling! Happy traveling!